Anandamide. Basically, it's your internal bliss molecule. Anandamide. I guess I'll just start from the Latin root. Probably a good place to start. It means internal bliss. Okay. Anandamide is part of the. Anandamide is central to the endocannabinoid system. All right. It's basically the currency, one of the main currencies of the endocannabinoid system. Anytime you're talking about the runner's high, we're essentially referring to anandamide and the process of anandamide binding the cannabinoid receptor and exerting its effects. So anytime we hear that word, we're essentially talking about the body's own automatically generated analog to the plant cannabinoids or the phytocannabinoids. So when we talk about anandamide and the other endocannabinoids, essentially what we're talking about are the cannabinoids that are made inside our own body that do essentially the same thing that the external cannabinoids do. It's important to look at how the mechanism of action happens with anandamide, because you can't talk about the endocannabinoid system in just one component in and of itself, okay? When you're talking about the endocannabinoid system, you're talking about the molecules involved in the signaling, which is the 2-AG, the 2-acylglycerol, okay, as well as the anandamide. Those are the two big ones, okay? So you're talking about the chemical messengers involved. You're talking about the enzymes involved in synthesizing these two chemical messengers. You're talking about the receptors that are involved in receiving them, that are involved in the first step of transducing that signal when those molecules hit the receptors into an effect by the cell, all right? So when you're talking about the endocannabinoid system and anandamide, you have to consider it in the context of the big picture of actually doing something, okay? So that brings us back to a bigger point, okay? What is the endocannabinoid system doing, okay? So the whole thrust, I guess the goal and the point of the endocannabinoid system, which is actually a connection of many systems, and I'll get into that ad nauseum. The point of it is to restore homeostasis, okay? Internal balance inside the body. For example, if a system is disrupted, take anxiety, for example, well-known reason for people to use medical marijuana. Not a qualifying condition in Arkansas. However, qualifying condition in some states. If someone has anxiety, for example, you'd consider that to be a system that has been perturbed. Okay, basically when the nerves are overfiring and someone is experiencing a hypervigilant response to a stimulus that otherwise wouldn't cause such a nervous response, increased heartbeat, increased sympathetic system activation, sweating, palpitations, what have you. If you consider that to be a system that's been pushed out of order, restoring homeostasis would be taking that anxious person and making them less stressed, okay? That's what the endocannabinoid system is involved in doing. Taking a system that's out of balance and restoring balance again. Anandamide is the molecule it's a fatty acid molecule, okay? So it's contained right there in the cell membrane. It doesn't have to be made like a protein. Oftentimes when the body is signaling for something, it makes DNA transcribe a protein, okay? That's not how anandamide and 2-AG work. These are fatty acids. So what happens is the body sends a signal and these are cleaved right off the cell membrane. They're ready. They're fast action, ready, okay? It doesn't make sense to have to wait for an abnormal system to be returned back to normal. So these are ready on short notice. It's very adaptive, okay? That's an important point to remember. These are synthesized. These are fatty acids that are synthesized on short notice by enzymes, okay, that catalyze the reaction and make these things available. When you think about it, this endocannabinoid system and this internal bliss molecule, it's so important even to people that are into medical marijuana or not. It doesn't matter. This endocannabinoid system, it exists basically to elevate the mood. It's made to make you feel good. That's why when you look at the coevolution part of the survival of the marijuana plant, the hemp and the marijuana plant, it's obvious. It makes you feel good. There's no real you don't have to break down the science of that. Stuff that makes you feel good. When you think about that runner's high, they're breathing heavy and they're hyperventilating, but for some reason they feel perfectly at ease and fine with it. Any runner can attest to it. Anyone that's done any sort of long cardio, you feel that real great sense of just calming achievement. And it's that also that very lovely, blissful, post-orgasmic euphoria. It's literally a thing, right? When those people are lying down after, happy and sweaty and dirty and high-fiving each other or falling asleep, that calming, sedating, just absolutely care about nothing else in the world after you've done the dirty deed, that's anandamide. That's it. It makes you feel good. It always has. It's always been around. That molecule has been around as long as man has been around. The endocannabinoid system has been around as long as man has been around, so that it can potentiate those good feelings. It's that system that mediates those good feelings.